Hi everyone. Today's lesson is going to be about types of rocks. So that's obviously going to be a title today. So we want to know how can we identify different types of rocks, and we want to be able to state three types of rocks, describe the properties of the different types of rocks, and explain how sedimentary rocks form. So we're going to take a look at different types of rocks and the names of them and just what they are like. So let's get started then. So to start off, we're looking at different types of rocks and we're going to look at their properties. There's a couple of words we need to understand to be able to do this. So one of them is the word porous. So we want to know what the word porous means. So if I tell you that a sponge is porous, but glass is not porous, have a think for yourselves for a second. What do you think the word porous means? Okay, so we should have got an answer for that by now. And basically, what the word porous means is it can take in water, or it will allow water to go into it and pass through it. So if you imagine we've got two rocks, okay? Rock A and rock B. They're both soaked in water. Now for rock A, the water is able to get into it. So this is water. Okay, so they're both put underwater, and the water is able to get into the rock because it is porous. Whereas rock B, the water is not able to get into the rock. It's not able to pass through because it's usually because the grains are too close together. So rock B is not porous. Okay. So that's just one of the words that we need to understand to be able to do this lesson and to be able to continue to be able to speak about this properly. So next thing we're going to do, you need to pause the video now and copy this table into your books. And then I'm going to go through the next part of the lesson and you need to fill in this table as we go through it. So pause now and copy this table into your books. Okay, when we're ready then, you can start again. I'm going to go through each type of rock and you need to fill in a definition, properties of the rock, so you need to describe the properties, and you need to draw a little picture. So you need to pause it as and when you feel like you need to. Okay, obviously the advantage of this being a video is you can go through this at your own pace. So I'm going to go through sedimentary rocks first. Now all the information's here that you need, so you can pause this now or you can wait until I've finished talking through it and you can write down everything you need. So sedimentary rocks are formed in layers of sediment. So sediment is broken up rocks. So broken up bits of rocks and maybe bits of like things like shells and things like that that fall to the bottom of the sea, and it can contain fossils. So some of the properties of sedimentary rocks are they can have layers. Okay, so if we look at this rock up at the top here, this one is formed from layers of different sand. So we can see there's like a layer there that's lighter, and then maybe that layer in the middle where it's darker. So this will be different types of sand that has fallen and been squashed together. And sedimentary rocks are also porous. So if I poured water on this rock, okay, it would start to seep into the rock. And they can contain fossils. So if we look at this rock down at the bottom here, we can see that there are fossils in this rock. So there are fossils of seashells in this rock. So there would have been creatures that would have lived a long time ago that have died and their shells have fallen to the bottom of the sea and they've been squashed into the rock. Right, so you need to have written down everything you need to about sedimentary rocks and drawn a picture. Now you just need to draw one picture, so you can pick which one you want to do, and you need to draw that picture in your table. Okay, when I'm ready, I'm going to move on to metamorphic rocks now, so make sure you've got everything off here that you need before you move on. So, metamorphic rocks. They are formed from existing rocks that are exposed to heat and pressure for a long time. So, if we imagine we've got the Earth's crust like this, and we start building up layers and layers of sedimentary rocks. So we're building up the layers like this. As you get further and further down, if you remember anything about what you should have learned the other day about the Earth's core is very hot, so you've got heat coming up from the Earth's core. And you've also got, because of the weight of the rock on top, lots of pressure. And these two things together lead to the rocks being squashed and heated and formed, and they are changed when that happens. So they're exposed to heat and pressure for a long time, and then these rocks in the middle that were sedimentary rocks can then become metamorphic rocks. And they generally are formed from existing rocks exposed to heat and pressure for a long time. They can have layers, but they don't all have layers. They are not porous, so because they've been squashed together so much, there is no space for water to get through anymore. They can still contain fossils, okay, and many of them have crystals as well. So we can see the fossils quite clearly in this bit here. So we can see there the fossils. We can see that this rock at the top has layers, okay, but it would also have more of a crystal structure than a standard sedimentary rock. Okay, so everything you need on here is on here for metamorphic rocks. So when you're ready, I'm going to move on to the last type of rock, which is igneous rocks. So igneous rocks are formed from cooled magma with minerals arranged in crystals. So they are very, very hard igneous rocks. So these are things like granite. And we can see, if you look at this one here, we can see that it contains crystals. Okay, now they're generally not porous and they do not contain fossils. So the reason for that is basically these rocks have been melted. So if we imagine what we saw on the metamorphic rocks with the heat and pressure of the ground, these igneous rocks form when they get even deeper and they have melted into magma underground. Okay, then when it cools, the magma then forms into these igneous rocks. So we obviously can't have fossils in these because any fossils that were in there would have melted. And they're also not porous because of the crystal structure that they have, because the crystals are all really tightly interlocking with each other, and that doesn't leave any space for water to get through. Okay, so you should, again, make sure you filled in the bottom of this now, so you've got the igneous rocks in there as well. So I'm going to go on to the next page, and it'll go through the answers to your table. So make sure you filled it all in first, and you can mark this yourself with the answers that I've got on the next page. Okay, so pause now and you can go through the answers to the different types of rocks and make sure you filled in your table properly. Right, when we're ready then, we're going to move on and we're going to have a look at how sedimentary rocks are formed. Okay, so for this, you need the reciprocal reading sheet. Okay, so you need to, I'll have sent it you through on the chat and the assignment. So you need the reciprocal reading sheet that is in there. So it's called reciprocal. It's called reciprocal reading task. Okay, and you need to use that to answer the questions in there. So a few words on here that we need to know the meaning of before you do that. And these can go, so the first task on that reciprocal reading sheet asks you to clarify some words. So you can clarify these three words here. So to deposit means to put or set something down. So rocks get deposited at the bottom of rivers and lakes and oceans and things like that. Transport means to move from one place to another, okay? And remains, that means what is left over. So they're the three words that you can clarify from there. If you've got any others though, you can clarify those words as well. If you're not sure on the word, obviously you've got access to the internet, so you can look that up for yourself. But if you need to ask me in the lesson, just let me know, pop your hand up and you can ask. So these three words are something you're going to need for that. So you now need to pause the video and go through and work your way through the reciprocal reading task. Okay, so everyone needs to pause the video and work your way through the reciprocal reading task. And when you're ready, you can press play again. Okay, so you should have now completed the reciprocal reading task and we're going to move on. So Make sure you're reading through the sheet and you've answered all the questions. There is an extension here for you if you want to have a go at that as well. But I will, and that sheet you can send through so we can answer that later. Right, for the last part of this then, you're going to use the links that I have sent you to find information out about different types of rocks. So most of these rocks are on the link that I've sent, the links that I have sent you. If you can't find something though, for example, if one of them doesn't say if it's porous, just think about, is it igneous, metamorphic or sedimentary? That might help you first. So for granite, for example, if I find out that that's an igneous rock, that will tell me that it will have crystals and it will not have fossils and things like this. Okay, so there's lots of rocks to look through. Again, you've got the link. I'll put it in the description for this video, and I will put them in the chat for the lesson as well. So make sure you go to those websites to use this. But obviously, if you can't find it on that website, you're free to use any other website that you want to find out the answers to these questions. Okay, so everyone needs to go and do that now, and that should take you into the rest of the lesson.